Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, we'll be going through certain details of the accounting information when it comes to certain characteristics of why this information has been used. So first of all, let's understand. Who are the users? Why are these users there? Why do they exist? And what are the qualities that they look when it comes to any kind of information that they are getting? When it comes to information, for example, if I give you any specific transaction which has been done in your company, and if it's a fraudulent transaction, so what do? Once you receive the information, you go ahead and check whether that information is correct or not. If supposingly you have received a bomb threat, that doesn't mean you go ahead haywire and keep shouting that there is a bomb. No, you don't do that. You go ahead and check the validity of any such information that you have received. In any sense, when it comes to accounting information, there are certain users who require this information for a specific reason. For example, the stakeholder requires this accounting information to ensure that whichever company he is going to invest this money in is a safe company and he is not going to lose his money at any point of time. Hence, the stakeholder requires the information for a specific purpose. When it comes to suppliers, when it comes to creditors, when it comes to lenders, they require this information to understand the credit worthiness of any company. That means whether any company, whether giving the goods on credit or whether giving the cash on credit, that means this company is able to pay up in the later stage. If they don't have this confirmation, which is provided by the information that is provided in the terms of accounting transactions and the records that we share with them, they won't have utmost faith in the company, and the company will never have the funding that is required to expand or run their own business. Hence, when it comes to any specific user information being shared, there is a reason behind every user asking for this specific information. So, when we talk about the characteristics of any specific transaction, any specific information, it holds four important characteristics. One being relevance. Any information that is being shared to the user has to be relevant to the transactions or the information that is being sought for. So, if any transactions is being questioned about the previous year, you need to show records of previous year itself. You cannot show any transactions which are not relevant to that specific year. So if you need to understand what is the growth that your company has gone up to or the company has achieved in the last financial year, you need to understand the transactions and the records which needs to be shared from the last year itself and not related to any specific year apart from that. That is the definition of any specific transactions being relevant to the information sought. So the first part being relevancy. Any information that is being shared has to be relevant so as to make specific decisions over it. The second thing being reliable. Any information which is being shared is used for decision making. So the decision has to be strong and upfront. To make this decision strong and upfront, it has to be based on a specific information which is a reliable information. That means the information which has been provided to you has to be correct and has to be error-free. It cannot be a biased decision. It cannot be a biased information which has been provided to you. Hence, any transaction, any information recorded has to be completely error-free, which will make sure that any transaction or any decision that is being taken for the future is based on a reliable decision or a reliable information that was provided to them. Hence, the usefulness and the understandability of any transactions which are being made depends on the reliability and the relevance of those information shared. The third characteristic being understandability. A layman won't know jargons which have been mentioned in the accounting terms. Hence, the information that has to be shared in a local language which is understandable to any specific person who goes ahead and reads out the reports. So if your reports, if your balance sheets are shared in a simple language which is easy to understand for any person who goes through, because you have n number of users who are not related to your company but are still willing to invest. Hence, the information which has been shared has to be very specific, very clear when it comes to understanding that information. Any information which is jumbled up, any information which is not worth understanding or not clear enough, won't be able to lay that impact on any investor, any user who goes through that. Hence, the information which has been shared has to be understanding in all the matters, in all the terms. The fourth characteristic of any being, comparability. When you talk about performance, when you talk about any information that has been shared in terms of performance of the company, it has to be compared with the previous years so as to make sure that the future targets are set on the higher basis. For example, just to take, if you have scored 100% average, or if you have scored 83% of average in the previous financial year and the targets have been set as 93%, what is the growth that is required will have to be compared with the previous year, because the previous year achievements will define whether in future you will be able to achieve a certain target which is higher than the previous one or lower than the previous one. So to ensure that this specific target is achieved, you need to have data related to the past which can be compared with the future, and a specific target can be set. Unless and until you don't have a base data to compare this with, the information stands of no use. Hence, the four characteristics that we have understood here is relevance, reliability, understandability, and comparable. So all this information which has been shared by the external and internal users has to be relevant to all cause, has to be reliable and error-free, has to be in a simple language which can be understood by any person, and could be compared with all the transactional records of the past year so that the transaction record can be useful in making targets of the next year. These are the characteristics when we talk about accounting information. Thank you for watching Ekeeda. Keep subscribing to Ekeeda.